Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Nakiato here, and welcome to another episode of the Heroes Hideout Gaming Podcast, where we talk about video games and all of that jazz. This week I'm joined by Phyrus, Highsight, and KageUta. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys.
Hello, folks. I am Phyrus. I am a Twitch caster, but this week I've been mostly a YouTube live caster. I've been streaming the game that's being shown right now in the live podcast version, Star Wars Battlefront. And oddly
Fucking
enough,
fun.
I've been getting huge numbers this week, which was nice. I haven't been streaming full time or anywhere near full time for the past half a year or so. And this week I started doing it at night and playing this game, and I started to get a snowball. Basically, that's what happens when you start small. You get a couple people, and then a couple people see that there's people in your stream, and they come in, and that shows other people that there's something going on there. So they come in, and then it gets larger and larger as the snowball goes downhill. So the other night I ended up with
Kind of
59.
how fucking streaming works, quite honestly.
Yeah, I had like 59 people in my channel watching me on YouTube Live, so that was pretty cool. And so yeah, I'm playing Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront, and it's a great time. It's a lot of fun. I'm like level 27 or so out of 50, so I've still got some place to go as far as leveling up.
I got some catching up to do. I'm only fucking ranked 12.
It's a good time. And the other thing about this stream is there's one person or possibly a couple people that created character names or identities on YouTube for Rey, for Finn, for Kylo Ren, for Vader, and I think there's a Captain Phasma as well. And they sit in my chat and they talk amongst themselves or to themselves if it's one person. It's funny. They shout down the other people and they cheer when their side wins the match, and it's a lot of fun. And the viewers come in and they interact with them. So it's a lot of fun. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. School started again this week, so a couple more semesters at the end of the summer. I should be done. Should be done. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing. And Assassin's Creed Brotherhood's finished, and moving on to Assassin's Creed Revelations as far as my New Year's resolution. So that's still holding, still moving forward.
So if you keep going at this rate, how long do you think it'll take for you to finish?
Well, I only own 3 more games at this point. I own Revelation, I own 3, and then Liberation. So those are 3 games there. Depending on how much time I spend with Battlefront, Brotherhood took me about a week and a half. But I was pretty consistent on that. If my numbers keep up with Battlefront, then yeah, it's going to slow down a bit. But if the numbers taper off again, which is likely they will, I'll probably be getting back into Revelation more steady. So hopefully by the time summer sale comes around, I'll be able to afford Black Flag, and we'll move from there.
Nice.
All right. Well, my name is Highsight, and I play a lot of indie games. And recently, I got myself a Wii U for Christmas, which was freaking amazing because I just hooked it up to my computer, and I've been streaming Super Mario Maker, which has been exceptionally fun lately. I've been able to play people's levels live. I've been able to give them critique. And most importantly, I've been able to actually do something with my game dev skills. I've been able to make levels, which is kind of how I started off in game dev. I really enjoy trying to make levels, trying to make challenges around an engine that already works. So that's been so far going on for 2 weeks now, and it's been a lot of fun. It's gotten a good reception from people. Feel free to drop on by yourself, give me your levels. I'd love to see them. I'm hoping to parlay that into some kind of a weekly map featurette on YouTube. So any levels that I really like, I'll try to get some video footage of and try to put them on YouTube and let people know they exist, that they're awesome, and all that fun stuff. So that's been me lately. Christmas was great. New Year's was great. Had a good downtime, good 2 weeks, just kind of relax and not do anything. I didn't do any streaming. I did a little bit of YouTube work, but other than that, just relaxing. And it was really, really comfortable.
Nice to take a break, isn't it?
It is. I'm also currently on about 3 hours of sleep because I went to a Magic the Gathering pre-release, midnight pre-release.
Nerd.
Yeah, shocking. There are nerds in this podcast. Watch out, everybody. Yeah, I went to a Magic the Gathering midnight pre-release for the first time ever. We got there at 8, We played Magic up until about 4:30. I got to my buddy's place at 5. I crashed until about I would say I was quote unquote asleep until 10, but I kept on getting woken up throughout the night, so it was like, on off, which that's no way to sleep. So basically, if I'm hyper and sleep drunk or just regular drunk, it's because I'm both drinking and not sleeping. So
So that's a thing.
You've done it to
Yeah.
yourself.
Hey.
it was a good night though.
I hope so.
I
I'm
heard.
Cage. I'm a YouTuber, streamer, musician, cosplayer. I still got to finish my cosplay that was supposed to be done last October, so I'm still working on that.
Oh, you're still working on that same fucking piece?
Different piece. Just I didn't like how it turned out, so now I'm redoing it. So yay!
Scrap
Hooray.
and start over.
Yep.
I'm gonna sink another
but yeah,
couple
I got
$100 into that shit.
It's expensive. It's really expensive. It really sucks because I'm like, do I want to take apart the whole chest armor piece that I put together and redo it, or leave it as is? Because at this point, it's like I've already spent too much time and money on this just to break it up. But but
There's
yeah,
no
so
going
that's-
back now.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm gonna wear it. Damn it! It's gonna get finished whether I like it or not.
See, that's why you do what I did back in high school. You do fucking cosplay on the cheap. What I did was I took
That's how I started.
I took a bunch of rolls of duct tape and I just made fucking like swords and armor and shit. And I did that during school. So by the time I was
Oh.
done, I made the fucking Buster sword, which was fun. And then somebody thought it was fucking stupid, and he was like, "Man, that thing's probably flimsy as fuck." So I hit him with it, and he cried. And I was like, "Ha, how's that fucking feel? That feels fucking flimsy, right?" Oh, that's
I haven't
great.
taken the duct tape route yet, but I've done it on the cheap by going to like Goodwill and stuff and looking for parts to modify from there.
Oh,
I
man,
saw
love
a
duct tape.
funny picture this week. It had the super cheap cosplayer. He had a guy dressed up in a white robe, and he was on his bathroom floor, and he had the camera above him somehow. And he was supposed to be Ken from Street Fighter 1, and he had his toilet was, you could see his toilet, and he was going like this, and it looked like the blue fireball in front of him, which is the toilet, because he had
That's awesome.
the blue water in his toilet. It was pretty funny. But
Nice.
that's
That's one way of
my
doing it.
input.
Cosplay photos are it's very interesting to see what kind of techniques people use to create the effects they do.
Mhm.
So that's
I always enjoy Paper Mario
reason I put
cosplays. It's usually just a 2D box, cardboard box that somebody cut out and like painted like Mario, and then just people wearing black suits, and then they got like that box that they're just kind of carrying with, look all like flat
where you
Mario.
get the Tetris blocks that try to fit into everything they can.
Yes, those are fun.
So, but yeah, I've been learning how to use a new video editor for YouTube, so I got that going on too. So watch my
Yay.
YouTube. You might see videos if I'm not lazy.
Like, you eventually just lose steam, and you're like, "Fuck, I just don't want to do this fucking video
Well,
editing
it's-
shit anymore."
It takes so much time for
It
how
does.
little you put
Yes.
Like I'm like, here's a
Welcome to
2-minute
my
clip.
world.
I've been working on this for 6 hours.
Oh, dude,
It's
you
like
do
for 2
not have to
minutes.
tell us. We know. We really
Yeah,
know.
game video reviews. Literally for game video reviews, I usually take 16 hours of footage and put it into 5 minutes. It's
Yeah.
like, what the? Well, that was worth the 1 terabyte of space.
Yep.
Mhm.
Fucking A, man. I mean, like, I love video editing. I love video editing like a motherfucker, because that's what I started originally doing with my channel was just fucking not reviews or anything like that, but I was doing more just guide type videos. And fucking guides, man. Guides even take a lot of fucking time, because you have to think about how you want to say it, then you have to go record it, and then you have
Then
to
you have to verify what you're telling the people is actually true.
Exactly, and then you have to
Yeah.
verify it, and then you have to go back and re-record any parts that you need to re-record, and then if it's like Firefall or something like that, or like I guess Paragon is going to have, because they announced that you're going to be able to fucking take replays of matches and then go wherever you want. So when you have a feature like that, then you go in and you get nice fancy fucking shots to make your clip look better than other people's clips, so they like it. And by the time you're fucking done with it, you've spent fucking like 12 hours making a 5-minute little tutorial video telling people how to do a simple fucking thing, and you're just like, why am I wasting my life with this?
Mm-hmm.
It's
And then people downvote it.
oh man, oh fucking love
Instant.
that so
That's always
much.
the fun part.
Downvoting,
Wait a minute,
and
did
then
you
somebody
post this content that you made?
Oh, God
the devil.
damn it, dude. That shit is so fucking frustrating.
How
Oh.
dare you make original content that people like?
Yeah. Oh God. I will never forget the first time that I ever posted something to like /r gaming. You know, I threw something on there because it was just a funny little fucking video that I did, but it was still kind of helpful. And I got flagged for it, and I got fucking warned that I was going to be banned from Reddit if I continued to post stuff there that was my own content. And I was like, are you fucking serious? Like, this is gaming content, and it's funny. And I'm sorry I don't have a gigantic following that doesn't post this stuff for me. I mean, like, fuck you, I guess, you pricks. But yeah,
It's like I always say, Reddit loves it when you put or when you have original content, but only if it can't be traced back to you.
yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna start a
That's how
fucking
Reddit works.
alternate persona right now, build it up, and then start posting my own shit. Oh
And
fuck!
that's how Nakiato's account got banned on Reddit.
Right?
Yay, IP
Sorry.
tracking.
Yeah.
It's a great story, and you tell it so well with such enthusiasm.
True
Yeah.
story.
True.
Fact.
I'm sure it's true story for a lot of fucking people.
Inspired by a true story.
Inspired by many true stories. And I guess it's my turn. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Nakiato. I am your host. I am a YouTube video maker. I don't know, podcaster, father of two, streamer from time to time, and all of that jazz. I have not been doing a whole hell of a lot. Because of holidays and everything, I've been pretty busy just like hanging out with the family and all of that jazz. And I say all of that jazz a lot. I just realized that.
You just realized.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every now and then I'll start saying it a lot, and I'm just like, fuck, stop saying it and all that jazz. Fuck, god damn it. And I'm like yelling at
It's
myself
okay. I
in
used
my
to
own
say
head.
right off the bat, every time I do something in the insights, right off the bat, I notice, God damn it.
Oh no, I've watched your videos. Like, trust
Yeah,
me,
you know.
say that a
You
lot. I'll be sitting there and
Every time.
I'll skip forward 5 minutes. And right off the bat, okay, and skip forward another fucking half an hour, and right off the bat, oh fucking Jesus Christ, Highsight, stop it. It's like,
And all
you
that
say
jazz.
anything else, and all that jazz. Yeah, no, that's I know. And I don't know. I have some fun news, fun, exciting news. I'm fucking stoked. Next week is going to be hella fun. I've been spending a lot of time, just tweeting random people, following, talking to people on Reddit, so on and so forth. Being a sociable person on the
making
interwebs.
friends.
I am making friends, and my fucking webcam froze, man. What the fuck? My webcam froze on such a weird face. Come on, webcam.
Okay, goodbye.
Nope. Webcam does
This is a
not want
neat
to
face
work.
you're making right there.
Hey,
How do you do that?
hey, webcam, stop
Well,
it.
For me, it's just a black screen.
It's
for
just
you
a black
right now.
screen.
But,
Yeah.
Okay.
but if I look at the
There we
if
go.
I look at the live screen, it's
the
pretty
face.
sweet.
It's an interesting
Works.
face.
Fucking piece of shit. Okay. So
Okay,
apparently
let's
it's
see if I
not
can redo
OBS
that
that
face.
makes my shit freeze. It's fucking actual camera. That's good to know. But yeah, so I'm a sociable person on the interwebs, or at least I try to be from time to time. And the Sony San Diego Studios guys, they started getting back in contact with me and everything, and they're like, "Hey, wanna go out and tour the facility? Wanna go tour fucking Sony San Diego Studios?" And I was like, "Of fucking course." And then they sent me a thing that told me the agenda for it, and it was like, go tour the facility at this time, go fucking have lunch and such at this time, and then actually go over to our sister studio, it's the something Bartlett investigation. I can't remember. It's a long fucking name. and it's the studio that David Jaffe made, and they're the ones that are developing. They are the ones that are developing Drawn to Death right now, and David Jaffe, if you don't know, is the guy that made fucking Twisted Metal and God of War, Kinetica, Calling All Cars. He's made a lot of fucking really good games. He was the lead director on all of them, and he's pretty fucking chill. And I like him more so because he acts like us. You know, he says fuck a lot. He is just the not corporate type of person. He is the creative type of dude that just doesn't give a fuck about what anybody else has to say. And it's really interesting seeing those types of people in such a like high up type position and or held in such a regard in any type of fashion in gaming. So David Jaffe is one of those guys that I've always like thought I'd like to have a beer with this guy, and now I can literally have a fucking beer with this guy. So I'm stoked. Yeah.
Didn't we do a news story last year about a CEO that was saying fuck a lot and all sorts of stuff,
and we were all condemning him and stuff.
Hey, I was not.
His outward-facing profiles.
I was like, hey,
that is not professional.
That is
Naki 2015.
No, that was not me.
I would never do that if I was in his position.
No,
Naki 2015.
No, that was fucking Damien for the most part.
I perished the thoughts.
He was the one that was like, man, that's stupid. You shouldn't do that as a CEO. And I was like, fuck that. Fuck it. Guy fucking threatened his life and caused a bunch of fucking drama for him. So yeah, you can say fuck to this kid all he wants. Do it. Fuck that kid. Kid's stupid.
Naki 2016. Fuck that kid.
Yeah, exactly. Naki 2016. Fuck that kid. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing next week, and I'm pretty goddamn excited. You guys will not be seeing me though because of it. So these fuckers right here are gonna have to entertain you next week for I don't know, for me. Is that how that would go?
In spite of you, I think is the term.
I think that's the right term.
Okay, that is a proper term, I guess.
Because of lack of you. Is that the term? Because of lack of Nakiato?
I'll show you lack of me.
Due to absence thereof.
Yeah. And what else? Fuck, I actually was streaming this week. I was streaming Star Wars Battlefront and then also Dead Star, which is a top-down spaceship game. It's a twin-stick shooter that is actually pretty goddamn interesting. Except for I was running into an issue. Not necessarily an issue. It's more just like the game's kind of frustrating because you have these fucking like 5 different, not abilities, but things you can put all of your points towards. And by the time a game ends, you can probably get about 8 points. So you can get to about level 8. So you can max out 2 of those things, or you can spend all of your points just like balancing out all of those things. So you never really like unlock all of your abilities, or if you do unlock all of your abilities, you unlock super weak versions of those fucking abilities. And I don't know, like it's fun, but it's kind of frustrating because I'm so used to like MOBAs and shit where by the time a game ends, you're usually like high level and you have all of your fucking your stats and your abilities and so on and so forth, and they're usually high level as well, and this didn't work out like that, and that was kind of annoying. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun, especially when you got somebody else rolling around with you, because then you're just like yelling at each other, no, you go get fucking bottom, I'll go top, no shit, all right, we gotta meet mid, fucking go get this. And yeah, no, it's great. It's just like a MOBA, but it's a fucking spaceship game. It's fun. It's fun. I'd suggest to go check it out. I think it's been
Naki calls bottom a lot.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Dude, I call bottom a lot. You don't even know.
Hey, it's fine as long as you choose it.
I do choose it. And my wife's okay with it. Or everybody's okay with it.
It's fine as long as they don't touch.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I think that's kind of it for me. There hasn't been a whole hell of a lot other than that. Just hanging out with the kids, the family, and so on and so forth. So yeah, without further ado, I guess we'll just jump into the news. If I had that fucking page up, which I don't, which I do now. So Forbes is predicting that Sony's PlayStation VR stands to be almost 3 times more popular than Oculus Rift in 2016. Now, there are actually a couple reasons why this is happening. We didn't cover this on the show, but Oculus Rift came out, and they announced that they are going to be releasing the Oculus Rift for $600. Now, if you don't recall, last year, probably about 5-6 months ago, Oculus came out and said, hey, we're going to be shooting for about $350, and everybody was kind of like, all right, fucking $350, that sounds great. That's almost the max I would pay for a VR headset. And now they're like, $600. So now everybody's just like, fuck. And then also the fact that only about 13 million computers can run VR right now, according to NVIDIA. NVIDIA came out and said that because of graphics cards, because they can track how many graphics cards that they've sold and how many are connected to the interwebs or registered and so on and so forth, only about 13 million PCs can run it right now. So NVIDIA is trying to push the push sales on VR-compatible graphics cards, but still, by the time Oculus hits, it's probably not going to be much higher than it is currently. And then also recently, which is not linked in this article, but there was somebody that came out from the manufacturer that is making the Vive headsets, and he said that the Vive headset, because of everything that's going to come included in it, and the fact that they're throwing a fucking camera on the front of it, and, you know, beefier internals than any of the other headsets, the thing is going to cost about $1,200. Or at least that is their speculation to it. Who knows? Maybe they're going to subsidize. They might
Subsidize?
Yes, that fucking
There's the
word.
I
Fuck,
was
man.
enjoying this.
No, that's not fun,
you
especially
help?
not as a fucking host. That shit's...
Watch Naki ride the struggle bus.
He'd ride the struggle bus all the way to the Pachinko machine.
Yep, Pachinko. So they're predicting that it's going to be that unless somebody subsidizes it. But we don't know as of yet, because HTC is being super fucking quiet on that. That was just a leak that happened. Now, a couple of the other things that also are pushing towards this as well is the fact that the PlayStation 4, which is required for the PlayStation VR, has sold 36 million units, and they are predicting 40 million units within the next 6 months or so, something like that. And by the end of the year, they're shooting for 50 million. That is that is a much bigger fucking install base than any of the other people or any of the other headsets have right now.
No worries about upgrades or anything.
And then you also don't have to worry about upgrades, which is another thing that Oculus came out and said as well. Oculus came out and said that they are predicting that the Oculus headset is going to have more of the lifespan of a mobile phone. So they are going to upgrade it every year or two. And that also rubbed people the really wrong fucking way, because this is a $600 thing that most people would consider more like a TV. You know, you upgrade your TV every like 5-6 years. It's an investment. It is not a fucking throwaway type thing. And the only reason why phones were a throwaway type thing was because up until like the last year or two, they were subsidized. So I don't know. Like people aren't very happy about where Oculus and VR headsets are kind of heading right now. And this is why
Well,
Forbes
that's
is
the thing,
predicting that they're
you
going to.
can't say where they're heading right now. This is the very beginning. I mean, when the first smartphone came out, when the iPhone, which was the really first major push for a smartphone, came out, it was around this price as well. And that was because it was on the bleeding edge. This was before it was even really subsidized. You might get some subsidies, but for the first one, you were pretty much on your own buying it. You got to understand that bleeding edge hardware is always going to be this expensive. You are taking a risk. You don't know for sure that this is even going to be a trend.
No, the first iPhone was subsidized by AT&T. AT&T pushed that thing real fucking hard.
It's true.
Okay,
I agree with that.
Well, if that's the case, who would you say would subsidize this for Oculus? I mean, they're already not making money on it.
I think Nvidia could do it, and the way I think they could do it is have a kind of like what they have for most cell phones now, where you don't actually own it, you lease it, and then you turn it in for the next upgrade for a discount. I think
that might be the kind of system that Oculus might implement. Is like, hey, you have an old one, okay, you turn that in, we'll give you a newer one for a cheaper price. I could see that.
Yeah,
that's one way I could see them going about this. I mean, granted, the first generation that's going to come out is obviously going to be overpriced. Well, it's going to be expensive. I won't say
Right.
overpriced because it might be what its value is, but it'll be expensive. But the thing they're counting on is people, early adopters, buying this and showing their friends and getting their friends hooked to get more of these devices out there. So as the popularity and the actual realization that it can happen in a home setting for a decent price point comes into effect, I think it has a possibility of being able to grow. Or it could be like 3D TV, which people paid
Fizzled
a
the
shit
fuck
ton
out.
for, and just decided not to be supported by a lot of stuff. So I don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah, it's really. Sorry, go ahead, Cage.
Do you think that some companies would be better off, underselling it for lower than what it's worth, just to get it out there, just to get the exposure, and then have the next models bring in the money?
Well, the thing is, the only people who are selling it right now are Oculus, and they already are underselling it. They are not making any profit per unit whatsoever. They're actually losing money. So this is them trying to get everyone into the Oculus ecosystem as early adopters. They kind of
set themselves up for failure just by underestimating the value originally, I guess, because everybody was kind of going, okay, well, it's going to be within this range, and now it's way over.
Well, the Oculus founder actually went on and did an AMA on Reddit like the next day, and he actually went into what that was all about.
Apparently, it was somewhat of a say, "Ask me anything," not an AMA. People are going to be listening to this going, "What the fuck is an AMA?"
Okay, fair enough, whatever. And ask me anything on Reddit, which is, let's go ahead and go into details on this. On Reddit, sometimes big figures will actually go on to a thread and they will literally say, I am here, this is what I do, you can ask me anything about what's going on in life. And this is where actually a lot of hard-hitting questions are hit. President Obama was on for one. There's a lot of famous figures that come on for him. But the point is, he came on and he actually answered every question presented to him, which is very rare for an AMA. Every hard-hitting question was answered, and the first one and the biggest one, of course, was about the price. And the way he said it was that that the question was presented to him in a kind of strange way, because he had actually answered it saying that it will. The exact quote he said was, and I have it right here, roughly in the $350 ballpark, but it will cost more than that. What he was referring to was the amount of money it costs for the parts in the current developer kit that he was doing. But he said it will cost more than that because consumers are going to have to pay more for them to make a profit. Well, what actually ended up happening was the second developer kit ended up costing more than $350. Then the final consumer product ended up costing even more than that. And we end up with a product that they're actually underselling to everybody now just so they can get the ecosystem going. So that's how the whole $350 quote came about.
Okay.
Yeah, it's understandable that that was, he even took full responsibility, claiming this is my fault and that it should have never happened like that. But I can totally understand where he's coming from that, and it is unfortunate that a lot of people thought that bleeding edge hardware like this would be so cheap, or that people could even run it, is the really unfortunate part. That, let's face it, if you want to run it, you're going to need a really beefy computer. Even mine, I don't even think this is beefy enough, and that's saying something. I've made this very powerful. I can run any game at full settings right now.
Yeah,
Welcome to the future.
I definitely think it's going to take off once the Morpheus comes out, and because it's going to be at a lower price point, and as the story says, it's got a larger install base. What wasn't discussed when Naki introduced the article was the fact that you need a PC that costs approximately $1,000 to run the Oculus. So that's basically $1,600 if you're starting from scratch to run the Oculus.
Right.
And that's a pretty big investment for something that you don't necessarily know is something that's,
Right.
going to take off or really something you'll enjoy.
Not to mention, you'll need to know how to construct a computer. It'll be like another $500 or $600 too.
Well, I'm sure there'll be like Steam boxes, pre-made.
Right.
That'll be like,
most likely
Oculus ready or whatever for people that want to buy into it from the ground.
But simultaneously, those same machines are going to be Vive ready too. And given that it's Steam, that's what they're going to push.
Yeah, like we've talked about this a long time for the past year, getting into VR stuff, and I still hold to the point that the software, the drivers for this stuff has to be standardized. Where one game that runs on PC, the same drivers you could use for either Oculus or the Vive or whatever comes out. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of splitting up the market. You're going to have games that are, like this Surgeon Simulator will run on Oculus, or let's say, for instance, the Space Sim, not Event Horizon, Elite Dangerous. That's Oculus ready, as it is right now.
Right.
Is it going to be Vive ready? Is it going to be, will you be able to use the Vive for that? Would you be able to plug your Morpheus headset into your PC? I mean, like this, Windows 10 is nice because you can use your PS4 controller natively if you plug it in with a USB, which you couldn't do before. The PS3 controllers wouldn't work like that. You'd have to have secondary software.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think they're coming around to plug and play capabilities. So I really hope that it goes that way, because I think there's going to be a lot of Oculus sets that are sitting on the shelf, especially when Morpheus comes out.
Well, it's
I know.
because
I have no intention of getting one early.
It's
no
because
reason to be
Sony went with a regular like HID type setup for their controllers. And I think that was because this generation they are pushing for things that they were not pushing for last generation. They are pushing for more like standardization in everything like related to PCs and so on and so forth. And one of the reasons for that is because of the streaming capabilities that they've built into the PS4 and their kind of their prediction on where that's all going. I mean, you can sync a fucking PS4 controller up to a fucking Android TV and run PlayStation Now games and shit like that. They're one of their other streaming services. And this is kind of what Sony is doing right now. Now, when it comes to VR specifically, it uses a port that is the other word that I have a fucking hard time saying.
Standardized?
Proprietary.
Proprietary.
Yep, that one.
Oh, you got it on the first time.
Oh, man, I struggled there for a
Suck
second.
it, struggle bus.
Whew. But they use a connector that is not a regular type of connector for the PlayStation VR. It's going to use what the PlayStation camera uses, and the PlayStation camera is going to then plug into the PlayStation VR box, because they have a separate processing unit that is going to increase frame rate and so on and so forth, so that your games don't look like shit. Because the PlayStation 4 cannot handle VR by itself, so they have to have this external processing unit. Now, people are speculating that Sony might be making some kind of adapter for PC so you can just hook that bitch up. Because if that's the case, Sony's definitely going to win this. Definitely. Like, they're hands fucking down if they come out at a good price and this shit works with a PS4 and a fucking PC. There are a lot of people that are going to jump on that. But we don't know if that's going to be the case. But I'm pretty sure that even if that's not the case, that is something that people are going to fucking, like, jump on and make sure happens externally, kind of like people did with the Kinect. Because back when the Kinect first came out, that shit was being used on PCs, even though there was no official fucking, there was no official drivers or anything for it. People made it, and then, like, medical researchers and so on and so forth were then using that to make surgeon type games, or not games, but like simulator type things, and so on and so forth, stuff like that.
I saw an article saying that there was a bunch of surgeons that were using Kinect in the operating room when they have to look through CT scans or look through other films, where they can use hand motions to actually, like, bring the films over onto a viewer and scroll through them and move them with their hands, so that they're still sterile and they don't have to re-glove or anything like that. And I thought that was a really cool application of using a Kinect. But yeah, I mean, the software technology, it's funny how stuff comes from gaming and gets attached to real life stuff. I was just thinking of another VR set that's coming out, or is kind of out. It's the Samsung set.
That's Samsung
actually
Gear.
Yeah, you actually just slide your phone into the headset. I mean, if you want to talk about install base, I mean,
kind of like fucking.
Google
It's
Cardboard,
good, but it's
Google
very
Cardboard.
limited.
yeah.
Because phone hardware can only do so much, unfortunately, but it's a neat idea.
Sitting here
But
with
I
my
mean-
Star Wars Force Awakens fucking Google Cardboard right now.
I mean, as far as finding an install base and trying to get people interested in it, I think that will go a long way, as long as the application are there to show off what it is.
Cardboard absolutely did that, because I mean, I know a bunch of people with Android phones who are like, hey, have you seen this cardboard thing? And it's like, oh yeah, you should wait till you see Oculus and Vive and stuff.
Yeah.
It's definitely a good way to get things going. And speaking of alternate uses for VR, actually, I did see one very cool thing around the just before the announcement of the Oculus Rift release pricing and everything like that. Someone had created a modified developer kit for Oculus, had a camera attached to it, and it would actually be able to see the real world and overlay 3D objects in it, which was really cool. What it would actually do is it could somehow track your hand movements and everything like that, and it would know what's in your computer because it goes through USB. It would know what's on your computer screen and everything like that. It would be able to actually, you could pull out things on your computer, like windows and stuff like that, and just move them all over your office, your workspace or whatever. Then you could literally have a 360-degree monitor around you, just a virtual 360-degree monitor, while still having real life happening around you. You could still see, your keyboard, you could still see your hands, you could see all that stuff. And, you'd be able to pinch and zoom and whatever. You'd be able to click on things on your windows.
Is blocking half of your view.
Knocking shit off your desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's handy when you can actually see into the real world. What do they call it? They call it
Augmented
alternate
reality.
I think. Augmented reality? Yeah, I think that is
reality.
the term. Yeah, it's basically augmented reality, but it's...
Like Invisibles. Invisibles, right?
Oh,
They had that for the PSP.
game.
Yeah.
That was a stupid game. I tried it. It was bad. But yeah, this is cool, though. I could definitely picture myself actually being in a work setting with something like this on and being able to be very productive, having everything around me exactly where I want it, instead of being limited to these two little windows, these two monitors I have,
Yeah, definitely. I'm having issues, so don't mind me. I'm trying to fix something.
As we bring full focus to you.
Yep.
But don't mind me.
Don't mind me.
Okay.
So moving on, the next story we have is dealing with EA, Electronic Arts, as we know them.
Monsters.
Yeah, which has been voted recently as one of the worst companies ever. A couple
Again.
years in a row, I think.
Yeah, I think
Um,
this is the third year. They're neck and neck with Comcast all the time. That's the problem. You never know
So
which one's winning.
so recently they've had this this Xbox only what would you call it, a
Service?
platform or a service? Yes, it's
Service.
a
Yeah.
paid service called
Yeah, like a
EA
Netflix
Access. Yeah. What it does is it gives you early access to pre-release games or beta access for games that are in the works. And also it gives you a discount for games, EA games that you buy through their store. Um, and this has been limited only to the Xbox so far. They just announced this week that they're moving this service, opening it up to PC, which is good news for PC players that like to play EA games. Um, it's like $5 a month, and you save 10% on Origin Store purchases, and you get free pre-release access to games, a number of games in the vault. Now, this is where I find the value in this service right here. Um, Once you're paying for the service, you have access to these games that are in the vault. Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, Battlefield Battlefield Hard On, Cops and Robbers Edition.
Battlefield Cops and Robbers DLC.
Yeah.
All 3 Dead Space games, all 3 Dragon Age games, FIFA 15, Need for Speed Rivals, Plants vs. Zombies 1, Sims 3, SimCity, and This War of Mine. There's a lot of really quality games in this list. I can definitely vouch for Dead Space 1 and 2.
Dragon Age is solid. Although, where's Mass Effect is what I wonder. You put one in, but not the other.
I don't
That's a
know
good-
where
good
Mass
question.
Effect is.
I want everybody to buy that one.
Mass Effect has been a very odd animal for EA
It has.
in a
Because
lot
they
of
still have
different
some on
places.
Steam. Yeah, that's right. They have 1 and 2 on Steam, but not 3.
Well,
Three.
they don't have 3 on Steam because 3 was released right at
After
the same
their
time
Origin
right
Origin
after
thing.
Origin. Yep, that's right.
was released. So they wanted to
Right.
keep all those sales in-house instead of farming them out to Steam. And it was
Mhm.
getting
You-
player
you
base
also
to
have to
invest in
remember-
Origin.
You have to remember that fucking Mass Effect 1 was published by Microsoft.
That's true. It came out originally as an Xbox title. I think it also came out on PC, but it was marketed more towards the Xbox crowd, if I recall.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So-
what I find surprising about this is that they give you the entire series of both Dead Space and Dragon Age. You think they'd like leave the third one out and be like, and now you can buy this one cheaper. That at least that's one of the
Here's a
few
demo.
non-evil things that I've seen EA do in a long time.
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised, honestly, because if you're paying $5 a month for a sub to be able to play these games, I think they're leaving it out there saying there's a lot of people like myself, if I'm a target person in the audience here, that if I haven't played 1 and 2, I might not want to play 3 yet. So they're having it out there as a carrot. You know, they've got a very long stick, and there's the carrot. And if they're targeting for me, I won't be able to play through 1 and 2 in 1 month. It'll take me 3 months to get to the third game because I played too many games all over the place. So yeah, if I'm the target audience that they're reaching for, which is a person with some expendable money that's looking for value, I think this would be a decent purchase. I'm not going to buy it because I've got way too much on my hands right now, but I can see a lot of people getting in on this right here.
What I find interesting, I guess, is that they like the Battlefield games, for instance. You can play multiplayer forever. I mean that it's not, to me, the Battlefield games are not for their story, not for their single player whatsoever. So I guess I find it interesting that they put games out there like that.
Plants for
Those
Zombies.
games have, games have replayability. So I mean that would keep people renewing their service. But then you have games that are single player. I mean, do you guys see this catering? That it looks to me like they're catering more towards single player.
I think the real thing that they're pushing for
Gamers.
is the whole the 5% discount and getting people on a buying plan for their games. The way I see it, you can justify having a 5% discount, 5% discount for a fee, provided you're able to do something else during that month. So, like you said, you have the infinite replayability with some games, and they might give you more games later. So that kind of keeps you saying, okay, well, there's nothing I want to play right here now, and I'm not really a multiplayer guy, but I don't know what single player game is around the corner that might come out, you know?
Well, the other thing you think of is that there's a 10% discount from the store. So if you're paying $5 a month, if you're paying $5 a month and you're paying a full price game, which is $60, give or take, you just paid for your discount essentially, and you have access to all these games. So I mean, it's a good hook, and to keep you there as long as you're a person that buys games.
And I'm sure they'll offer this with some games. Like, sorry, but if you buy a game full price that comes out really early, they'll be like, for an incentive, hey, we'll also give you a free month of EA access, and then you're hooked forever. Is what they're hoping.
Yeah.
I could see them bundling this with Plants vs Zombies 2 very soon.
Mm-hmm.
They actually have already done this on the Xbox One. The Xbox One had this for last 6 months or so, and it's actually pretty goddamn popular. Like, I spend a lot of time on the Xbox One subreddit now because I own an Xbox One. And one of the first things that people said to me when I asked them, hey, I'm new here, the fuck should I do? One of the very first things was get fucking EA access. And I guess the Xbox One actually has it cheaper. It's like $30 a year. So that's kind of nice for them. But they also have less games. And that's because the Xbox One doesn't have all of those older games that the PC can throw into that loop there, which is kind of nice for PC, but at the same time, cheaper is cheaper, you know. I actually think this is more of a EA is doing this first right now before anybody else is doing this, because companies are setting themselves up to do shit like this, and they're actually not the first to do it. And NVIDIA does it. NVIDIA has their streaming service that kind of works like PlayStation Now. I guess PlayStation technically does it as well with their PlayStation Now service, but PlayStation Now is much more expensive, whereas like the NVIDIA one is like $7 a month or something like that.
But you keep the free games.
Subscription seems to be the way they all want to go at this point.
Huh?
Right.
What was that?
But one thing that I do notice about this, and this is probably the most surprising thing to me, is that they somehow got this War of Mine as an EA Access title. And that says to me, I think they're going to start branching out to indie developers to try to fill up this title list with either indie games or games that have gotten really popular within the indie scene. And that would be a good way for them to keep people interested in the service. Because like I said, you never know what game is going to be around the corner.
They would need to start including indies or something. Otherwise, their game list, I honestly think, would start getting boring because you can only throw so many big titles at it before you're out.
Kind of like what PlayStation Plus did, and then now everybody makes fun of PlayStation Plus for being fucking just nothing but indie games.
Well,
what are you talking about? A lot of people. I mean, you got Rocket League through it. What are you complaining about?
Oh, I'm not complaining. I fucking love PlayStation Plus, dude. Getting all of those fucking games for super cheap is fan-fucking-tastic. But
it's not just getting them for cheap; it's getting them for playing multiplayer games.
Right.
Because if you're a multiplayer game player, if you're a multiplayer game gamer, you're going to pay for PSN Plus anyway, because that's the only way you can play online.
Yeah.
And then you get games on top of it. And it's kind of like, well, I don't feel cheated for having to pay $60 or $50 a year for the service that was free on a PS3 anymore. Now it's like, I'm going to pay for it, but look what I get. I mean, it's kind of like tax day in America, where you've got some people that do their taxes a certain way where there's a lot of money withheld from their paychecks. So then when tax day comes around and they get the refund back, they're like, fuck yeah, I cheated the government. I got like $7,000. And it's like, that's $7,000 that you had the government hold on to that should have been in your pocket all year. and they're just giving it back to you.
Hey,
You know,
stop it, Highsight. Stop it with your fucking soundboard.
they're giving it
I don't
back
even
to
think he
you
knows he did that.
without interest. And in the same way,
Oh yeah.
this PSN Plus is the same way. It's like, well, I'm gonna pay them anyway, but they're giving me all this stuff. I'm making out like a bandit. So I think they did a really good job marketing that, and I've been really happy with it personally.
Yeah, no, so have I. I mean, like, but I've had PlayStation Plus since fucking the PlayStation 3, like almost right when it came out, probably a month after it launched. And I love it because of all the fucking games I've gotten through it. But I can definitely see how it has changed over time. And the fact that I have to continue to pay for that in order to play multiplayer games is kind of dumb, because I let that lapse for like a month, and in that entire month I wasn't able to play fucking shit. Because I realized most of my games were through PlayStation Plus, which you can't play those while your subscription is lapsed. And then I also couldn't play the multiplayer games that I own because my subscription was lapsed. So I was sitting there playing like super, super shitty fucking campaigns, and I was like, fuck.
Speaking of which, there's a small update. If you have a PSN Plus account, you should have gotten an email this week saying that you get one free day tacked on to your PSN account because of the outage, on the 6th or something like that. But to get it, you have to redeem a code that was in the email.
Really?
Yeah.
They didn't make you work for it.
They don't automatically tag it
24
on.
hours.
You have to, and it's within, I don't know, within 30 days or something of the activation date. But if you had an account active, I think during the 6th, I think you'll get an extra day. So just a heads up if you didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
I think they're learning.
Yeah.
They're learning.
Oh my god, did you guys
service?
you guys saw that fucking that Snoop Dogg thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn, dude.
That was good.
That
He
shit
was pissed.
funny. Yeah, I guess Snoop Dogg fucking threw up a Instagram, and he was just calling out fucking Microsoft. He was like, "Get your fucking shit together, Bill Gates." You know?
Yeah, because it's totally Bill Gates' fault.
Because his servers were down for Xbox, and he was just
I want to know
couldn't
what
play
he
his
was playing
games.
or trying to play.
I have no
It's
idea.
probably Blops, I'm guessing. It seems like a game he would play.
Yeah, I can see that.
Or maybe NBA 2K. Not to be too racially.
Why it's got to be
racist.
basketball, Phyrus?
Racist.
It could be FIFA. He could be playing FIFA. I don't know him.
Why's it got to be sports games, Phyrus? What are you saying about sports games?
It's fucking
It
My
could
Little
be-
Pony, dude. I mean,
It
come
could
on
be
now.
GTA. It's probably GTA 5. You know.
Why you gotta
just
say
because.
shooting games, man? Why you aligning him with shooting games?
It's likely Need for Speed
Because he's
or
a gamer.
Drive
That's
Club.
why.
But yeah, it's funny when you get a celebrity that gets pissed off and people blow it up for you. But yeah, so I think it's time to move on to the next topic.
So I'm gonna throw this out there. I cannot open up other pages, and I had to close that stuff, so that
Okay.
didn't show up on my OBS. So if you could read those,
Amazon
that'd be great.
Prime, the buyer program through Amazon, which normally gives you free shipping now, and then there's discounts, and then there's access to their streaming sites and stuff like that.
That free shipping is a motherfucking lie. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's fucking bullshit. I have Amazon Prime. I still got charged for like half of the fucking shipping orders that I've made in the last like month. It's
I've
stupid.
never had an issue with that.
Well, it
So-
depends on the seller.
It's got to be exactly. It's got to be Prime eligible.
Yeah,
Right.
which a lot of things
Looks
are
like some
not.
company in Hong Kong might not give a crap about Amazon giving them money, so
Right.
happens a lot.
So Amazon Prime members now get 20% off game pre-orders and new releases, which is it's a good chunk of money if you think about it. If you got $20 or 20% off a $60 game, you're talking $12 right there. I mean that's a pretty good deal.
2 microtransactions.
Yeah.
Yay. I can
and
buy
the other-
DLC now.
This article on Polygon goes over some of the other pricing clubs that have existed in the past. Best Buy had a gamers club
They
back
still
in
do.
2008.
They still do.
And
and
They launched
it's
it in
actually
2008.
it's pretty popular still. They get 20% off of pre-orders as well.
I think this is Amazon's way of competing with that, because of the fact that Best Buy's Gamers Club actually, it actually like took off pretty well.
Oh
And
yeah, no, people are
it wasn't
holding that
anything
in
that I
higher
expected.
regard than fucking GameStop. Like a lot of people are not going to GameStop because of how fucking well Best Buy has been doing with their gamer related stuff like trade-ins, since they now do trade-ins and Gamer Club.
so
Not to
that
mention when you buy a
costs
game there, they're not like, do you want to pre-order a game that's you don't care about at all? Do you want Madden 2018, 2005, 302? No? Too
No.
bad. Here's a magazine. Read it.
Okay, so I worked in a game store. I'm just gonna say this: we had to do that shit to keep our job.
I know, but
and
Sure.
it
still.
sucked. It sucked.
But still.
It sucked
It's
a
add-on.
lot. Yeah, because they
Um,
judged us by that, and it was fucking annoying as shit.
I mean, it's profit, and that's the way it is. So the Best Buy program it's like $30 for 2 years. GameStop has their own thing, Power Up Rewards, which I've been sucked into in the past, and I never really used the rewards program all that much because I don't really buy new games very often. But I did appreciate the free magazine that I got for like a year, and that the Game Informer magazine is actually pretty nice. I think I saw Fortnite in that a long time ago. That's where I kind of fell in love with that game to start. But there's a lot of things like this. So so heads up on Amazon Prime, giving you access to cheaper new games and pre-orders. Not that we recommend pre-ordering any games
Yeah, don't do that.
for the
One-
foreseeable future.
one note on that though, that I don't really care for this so much because I don't really pick up physical copies of games so much anymore. But I believe that it only applies to physical games. So you can't just buy a game digital download from them. You have to have it actually delivered to your door, or it does not apply.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
that.
And that's where they're really competing because they got to fight against Steam. I mean, not only
Yep.
Steam, but even Sony has their own download service. Xbox has their own download service. That you need some incentive to get off your ass and actually waddle down to a store as opposed to just pressing a button.
No, once
And-
digital downloads.
And then you
went out-
also have like cdkeys.com and shit like that. Like it is super fucking easy to get digital copies on the fucking cheap in 2016. So yeah, that's something that they
So the
have to
fine
compete
print
with.
here, it's 20% off new physical video games during pre-order through 2 weeks after release. So you can get all your day one reviews and watch everyone play it on Twitch and see if it's absolutely garbage before you pre-order within the 2 weeks after it's released. So I mean that's still a pretty good deal.
I mean, well, technically, you could do that with Best Buy too. You could pre-order it for like $5 and then go, I won't fucking want that game, and then not pick it up.
Or you could just buy it on Steam, play it for 3 hours, and then say it's junk and then return it. So moving on, we just wrapped up the Steam winter sale about 3 weeks ago. I'll look at my bank account and I'll tell you exactly when it stopped. So
I bought nothing, and it feels great.
Right? Ah, welcome to the club. Felt amazing.
I gave in on like the last day.
Aside from the
I
Secret
do it so
Satan
good.
games, I bought nothing.
The only thing that I've bought on Steam in the last like fucking 7 months has been that one fucking shitty game that I had to buy Norgoz for the Secret Satan thing.
Oh,
That was the only thing I've bought on Steam in the last 7 months.
no, what
What?
happened to me was I was going strong, like the wholesale. I don't need this. I don't need that. I don't need this. And then I made one purchase of a $5 game, and then it snowballed. $5 game, $60 or whatever for that video editing software that went on sale. And then there was like 2 other games. I'm like, oh well, I might as well throw some DLC in here too. You know what? Here, just take my wallet.
It's okay.
One crack, please, Steam.
That's what I did on Amazon when I bought my PlayStation 4. I was just like, but I can add this on here, and I'm gonna add this on here, and then I'm gonna throw that. I need a new vacuum, and here's a steam cleaner. I need to clean my couch. And I just added a bunch of like adult shit on there too. Just not like adult, but like grown up stuff, you know.
If you know what I mean.
If you know what I mean. But literally,
Wink, wink.
like a
Nudge,
fucking
nudge.
a vacuum, not like a penis vacuum, like an actual vacuum
Whoa.
for my floors.
This appears to be a Swedish penis pump.
I swear I've never seen it before.
That's not my bag, baby. Yeah. So everyone that was involved with the winter sale realized that it was different. Usually during the sales, they'll have some kind of hook, some kind of fun little game to keep you interested. They'll have 6-hour flash sales or 8-hour flash sales that rotate 3 times a day. So you'll get extreme discounts on a couple games for a short period of time. So it keeps you interested in looking at the store page to see what's new. Or they'll have a voting system. You're like, these are 3 hot games. Which one would you like to see a deep discount on? Vote here. And then you'd wait. And you're like, oh, come on. It better be the game that I voted for. You're like, ah, shit, it wasn't. And then you buy a game anyway. But this winter sale was different because they put up basically the sale price for all the games that were going to be up there on the first day on the 22nd. And the prices never changed for pretty much every game. There was a couple situations where prices were screwed up at the beginning, where they had to be changed or pulled. Black Flag was one of those motherfuckers. I was gonna buy it on the 28th or the 29th.
So close.
I saw it was on sale. It was on sale for like $15. I was like, it's been on my wish list for a while. I'm gonna play these Assassin's Creed games in January, so yeah, I'm gonna get it. And then on 29th at like noon, I went to buy it, and it was full price again. Like, now I saw this was on sale. I went to like the discussion page. Like, why isn't this on sale anymore? It was on sale on the 28th. So yeah, I missed it by like 2 hours, and they had yanked it. But anyway,
It's like, oh wait a minute, this is a Ubisoft game. Hang on.
But it was interesting because for a couple of reasons, because the prices were fixed and they didn't fluctuate during the sale. So there was no reason to hold and wait on for your game to go on sale. So you could buy it on the first day and not feel bad that you missed it.
See, they should have made a point to mention that, because to me, I was like, okay, I'll wait till tomorrow. I'll wait till the next day. And I finally realized there's nothing happening. I have no flash sales, no daily deals to look forward to. I was so disappointed.
Exactly. But the other big thing was the interactive part of the sale was using their Steam curator lists, where they show you games that are similar to games that you play, or games that you reviewed, or games that are in your library.
Your queue?
Yes, your queue. And to get the Steam cards, which are an achievement kind of thing, you'd have to look through your queue. So it'd be a list of 12 or 15 games to try to draw your interest into games that you maybe hadn't heard of, or maybe you forgot about, or are new and are similar to games that you play, to try to cater the sale to you, even though it's catering the sale to everybody with the same prices. And there's been some data that was drawn from the sale because of this change and decision to rotate the games being promoted on your individual splash pages. More customers looked at game pages, more customers added games to their wish list, and there was a 45% growth in sales of games outside Steam's top 500 list. So, in short, more customers bought more games across more of the Steam catalog. So this is the beginning of the year of the indie developer, I say, because a lot of those games got promoted that weren't front page stuff, or wouldn't have been front page stuff. So
it's funny
good
to
on
say
them.
that, actually, that last statement, just because I was just actually talking with a buddy of mine who was reading Game Informer. We were looking at the top 10 lists. Axiom Verge actually somehow broke out, and it was on a lot of people's top 10s list. And I don't know how that happened, but that is an immaculate game.
PlayStation Plus
Undertale made
for
it in there too.
free.
It was for free
Yeah.
in what PlayStation Plus?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
Axiom
that'll
Verge
do
wasn't.
it.
Apotheon was. Axiom Verge was not. Axiom Verge was the reimagined Metroid.
That's correct. Yeah, and that one got super acclaim. Like it was on at least 4 of the 7 top 10 lists on Game Informer, and I was like, "What? Who found out about this?"
Yeah,
So
there's
I
another.
agree. It seems like indie's getting more popular, and I love it.
There's another indie game that hit a lot of top 10 lists called Steam World Heist. I own
Yes.
Steam World Dig,
Yeah.
but Steam World Heist right now is available on mobile and on iOS, I believe, but it's not
I
available
think
on
it's
PC
also on
yet.
the 3DS. It's on the
Could be-
3DS.
It's on
That's where
consoles.
it's primary.
It's on consoles, but it's not on PC yet, so it didn't make
Yeah.
the Steam sale.
Well, that was
But-
initially a launch title for the eShop on the 3DS, SteamWorld Dig. That was actually pretty big on the 3DS at the time. And this one is actually, I didn't like SteamWorld Dig personally. I thought it was kind of crappy, but this one looks really neat. It's like almost a tactics-based game like XCOM, but 2D and kind of neat.
I
So
like
I can
Steam
dig
World
that.
Dig. That was
I do
fun.
too. It's fun.
I don't know,
It's like-
I
it's
felt like
like
got too
Dig Dug.
repetitive. Yeah, it got too repetitive for me, I think.
It definitely was fucking repetitive. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it wasn't, but in the couple hours that I played it, it was entertaining.
Okay, beautiful segue. Talking about
Oh, I have so close. I was going to say, and you know who the real winners of the winter sale were? All of the people who did damn it, the moment's passed.
the moment's
Anyone who
passed.
did microtransactions such as MOBA games. Dota 2 did really good in sales. And speaking of Dota 2, Phyrus.
No, I was actually gonna segue into the last story instead, but you totally screwed it up. But I'm gonna edit it so it sound like I did it right.
Fucked it up.
There you go. You do that.
So a segue into games that are repetitive and sales. Elite Dangerous has posted that has sold 1.4 million copies, and the average play time per person is about 60 hours.
That's insane.
This was a game.
Really impressive.
This was a game that was actually on the Steam sale to help promote their add-on Horizons, which is actually an add-on module where you can explore the surface of the planets as opposed to just the space combat and trading.
Why are you calling it an
environment.
add-on module? Why don't you just call it fucking DLC?
Because it's not exactly DLC. It's more of a second. I don't know.
It's like
I guess
an expansion pack
It-
almost,
it's an
right?
expansion.
It's like DLC.
Yeah.
It's like DLC.
But it's not offered as DLC. If it was offered as DLC, it would be $15 if you own the original package, but it's priced at $55 even if you own the original game. So it's not exactly
kind of like the
DLC.
kind of like the DLC that
For
you
Destiny.
get for Destiny,
Yes.
which is called DLC.
Expansions. Anyway,
Expansion.
so
saying. Word I have not heard in
that
a
figure of
long time.
1.4 million copies is through the end of December 2015. And this was a crowdfunded game that came out for PC in 2015 or 2014. It's on Xbox, and it's still going strong. I've played this game for a while in December. I really enjoyed it. It's a beautiful game if you've got a computer that can run it. And I've said before earlier on this podcast that it is Oculus ready, and I could see where that'd be a really cool addition.
Oh, yeah.
Within this game, because the cockpits are brilliantly detailed, but if you're playing on a controller, you're kind of just like a button makes you look that way and look at the pop-up display. But if you free look, when you look around, the stuff pops up when you're looking at it, and you can like touch and integrate with the panels. It looks like it would be an amazing first run software for Oculus.
Yeah, kind of like Eve Valkyrie.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So they're still working on that. They just came out with Horizons, and it says here at the end they're working on a roller coaster game called Planet Coaster. So I don't know where that's going. But it was an interesting article for a game that doesn't get a lot of play as far as media is concerned. What do you guys think? You have anything to add here?
I'm just shocked by the 60-hour average play per player. That
Yeah.
okay. So the way
kinda
I
nuts,
always justify,
honestly.
yeah, the way I always justify my purchases is if I
Oh,
get
this
an hour
fucking
per
again.
dollar. I'm just saying.
Here
I'm
we
just saying,
go.
the way I justify my. Okay,
Wasn't
well
here
we're
for- he
talking
wasn't here for
about
the
we
last
wanna
one.
make- Yeah.
He-
So
he
come
wasn't
on
here for the
now.
last one.
The way I justify my purchases is $1 per hour, and if it's a $60 game, I can totally see that being completely worth the purchase. That's amazing. So yeah, good for them. Most people
With-
just start up a game and 1 hour in and then they give up.
With Elite Dangerous, I can kind of put this together with Civilization, where every once in a while I'll decide, hey, I've got all these Sid Meier Civilization games in my library. I think I remember I liked playing these games a long time ago. Let me load it up and I'll give it a spin. And then you do this like at 2:00 in an afternoon on Saturday,
Mhm.
and you wake up Monday morning realizing you haven't slept. It's they're immersive lock-in games where there's periods of time within the game where you don't do anything.
World of
traveling.
Warcraft.
Traveling
Games
from
somehow-
one place to another, but you can't get there exceedingly fast. But yeah,
It's just one of those games that somehow break time and space, and you're like, wait, what day is it? What year is it?
And it's the
Yeah.
first time I played Minecraft. You get full immersed, and that's really the best thing you can do in a video game. Skyrim did it.
Only with
Fallout
fucking
4 did it.
Minecraft, like it could run perfectly well on my laptop. So not only was I playing that on my fucking computer, but I was like, I'm gonna throw this on my laptop and I'm gonna bring it with me. I'm gonna finish this fucking farm. And hold on, I wanted to add a fucking basement to this real quick. Let me do that. Oh, cool! I figured out how to grow
Real
mushrooms.
quick.
Let me add a fucking room so I can grow mushrooms in my basement. Oh shit, something spawned in there. I gotta go clear that out before they destroy all my shit. Yeah, no. Fucking Minecraft, dude. Fuck. God.
That run-on
damn
sentence
it.
had 5 fuckings or fucks in it. I just want you to know that.
Yeah,
it
no, that's
counted.
okay. That's okay.
We need to get you a swear jar.
Bring it.
But yeah, I definitely dig the full immersion feeling of video games. And really, that is, in my opinion, what makes a good video game. If you can get fully immersed in it, it's not a necessity. Like, you might not get fully immersed in a game like Undertale because it's not in the first person and you're just staring at your character. But the point is, if you can make a game that gets you fully immersed, that's a sign of a great game. You've done a good job in that in and of itself. And I can see why so many people would play it for so long in that sense and continue to play it through that. But good for them with 1.4 million sales. That's mighty impressive.
And does anybody remember when fucking Alien barely hit 2 million and they were like, it's a failure? No? Nobody remembers that?
I mean, I vaguely remember it, but to be fair, you're talking about Alien Colonies or you're talking
No,
about Alien...
Alien Isolation.
Oh, Isolation. They called that a failure?
They did.
Wow, what a
'Cause
freaking shame that
It
is.
only hit 2 million and they were like, it's a failure. We're not doing any more of these.
I do wonder how much they paid, though, compared to the Elite Dangerous crew. I mean, I can see Elite Dangerous being a lot cheaper. Space is pretty cheap to render. But
The AI in
but
fucking
even
Alien
still-
Isolation probably took quite a long time to actually fucking make. So,
I
god
would
damn that
imagine.
Alien,
Not
dude.
to mention that whole
Fuck.
station. The aesthetics of that game, too. They nailed the feel of Alien. They nailed it. It looked beautiful.
That Alien made me fucking angry. So angry.
I never played it, but I enjoyed watching it.
I mean, it was fun. It was fun. But man, there were times where I was like, all right, now I gotta avoid this fucking android real quick. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna throw something over there. Distract that fucking android. Now I'm gonna sneak under here. Go right over here. Turn around. There's the fucking alien. And he's like, hiya, buddy. How you doing? I'm gonna
eat
get
your
ya.
face.
I'm gonna eat your fucking face now. And I'm just like, no.
I'll eat your face with my little mouth.
he was a little bitch, dude. And then you'd fucking like flamethrower him, and the androids would notice, so they'd chase you, and then the fucking
Yeah, not the
scutter
alien.
off.
No.
No,
We
the
gotta
alien
chase the
scuttered
alien.
off as soon as you fucking flamethrowered him, and then like he'd pop up through a fucking vent over an area where you were going to go hide, and you're just like, fuck it, I give up on life. This is fucking
I
stupid.
ain't going in there. It's like, well, let's see, death by alien or death by robots. I'm just gonna jump out the cargo bay.
God, dude, that game was frustrating. That is a word that you can use for it.
It shocks me they would call that a failure, though, especially for 2 million sales. I don't think that's bad at all. I don't know how much they spent on it, but even given that, that game was really critically well received. So calling it a failure just based on sales alone,
Kind
I'm
of.
excited.
Back when it first launched, it wasn't actually like super well received by critics. It was after the fact that people were like, no, actually, this game's kind of great.
I don't know. I remember critical acclaim across the board initially. Actually, I take it back. I do remember a couple of people saying a few like, hey, the save points are really critical and stuff like that, and you don't get them that often. But
I
other than
listened
that,
to
I
a bunch of
remember a lot of
reviews
people
where
liked
they
it.
were just like, this is just one of those gamey type games. This is a video game that shows that we've moved on from these types of systems and so on and so forth. And I didn't start seeing like super positive reviews until probably about 2 months after release.
Well, it's a pity because I give that team all the credit in the world because that was a great game in my opinion. Amnesia in space with alien.
Kind of, actually, yeah.
Yeah, well done. But overall, I would say that it was a good game, and that I can see more. That's a trend that I'm noticing. A lot of space-themed open-world games where you can actually start landing on planets and exploring and stuff like that. I mean, we got Elite Dangerous, we got No Man's Sky, Star Citizen is working on that. EVE Online has a first-person shooter mode where you can fight on the planet to secure your corporation's loot. It's a neat idea,
That game
and I
sucked
really kind
ass.
of hope it stays.
That game
I didn't
sucks
play it,
so
but
much
even
ass.
Still.
That game
Even
sucks
still,
all of the barrels of ass that you can possibly fucking imagine. Do not ever play that game. It was fucking
ass.
It was so bad. I fucking hated that game, dude. It was worse than PlanetSide.
Wow, that's saying something.
Its controls sucked balls.
Well, yeah, you're playing on a console. There's your first
No,
problem.
no.
First-person shooters on a
No,
console are
no.
always wrong. Always.
No.
Always wrong, Naki.
Uh-uh.
Just admit it.
Uh-uh.
Mouse and keyboard master race.
Oh,
Till the end of time.
Fuck that. I like sitting on my
Yes.
couch and just enjoying myself, laying
You
back.
can
Not
do
for a
that with
first-person
PC
shooter.
too.
You can't lay in the positions that I lay with a fucking mouse and keyboard, so
Get good.
Eat a dick.
Maybe I will.
Okay.
Who said that's gonna be a bad thing, Naki?
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Why you putting a negative inflection on it, Naki?
Yeah.
Because I didn't.
What you got against dick eating,
I,
Naki?
I didn't enjoy it, so I don't think most people would.
You
in
didn't
my
enjoy it. So
position.
this was attempted, but you didn't enjoy it, is my understanding.
I didn't say it was attempted. I
But you said you didn't enjoy it.
yes. No. I like I said. Tempted was not a word that I would use to describe what I did.
I don't.
I
So what
know where
did you
to
do,
take this.
Naki?
I full on succeeded at my goal. Okay, not attempted anything.
Of eating a dick.
Exactly. I thought this was covered. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Hot dicking cereal. The breakfast that really makes you eat a dick. Oh, Naki. We have fun, you and I.
Uh-huh. Not in the dick eating sense, though. Never in the dick eating sense.
Why I gotta put a negative inflection on it?
You'll find out why one day.
Man.
Just you wait.
Frightening. Ominous.
Why you gotta put a negative connotation on that?
Oh no.
Why is it frightening, huh? What's so
Think we're
scary
on
about a
an infinite
penis?
loop now.
Two-way street,
Moving right
motherfucker. I can't move
You realize
along. I don't have the show notes. That was
Okay,
Phyrus reading
so
that.
our final article of the night. ESPN
Not the
is
game.
getting further into esports.
Speaking of dicks.
Are we talking about that? We're not talking about that. Yeah. So basically, they're getting further into esports. Long short of it is, they're going to start covering Hearthstone, Dota 2, and League of Legends, which I think is kind of cool. In general, TV is starting to look more into the esports scene, especially considering TBS is actually going to start showing Counter-Strike Go matches, which that does not seem like a match made in heaven, but hell, if they're going to go for it, whatever.
I didn't hear about that one.
Oh yeah, they talked about that like 2 months ago or 3 months ago or something. One of my coworkers of all people, someone who has no affiliation with gaming anymore, brought it up, and I'm just thinking, why the hell TBS, the comedy station that they are? It's like, look at these nerds playing Counter-Strike Go.
Well, I could see them going the route of like picking up YouTubers and creating shows with them and whatnot, but not esports. That's really weird. But ESPN was kind of already leaning that way, weren't they? Once they got rid of that one anchor or one reporter or whatever.
No,
That's right. Actually, they did actually
no,
show.
Not Cohan. Coherd. Man.
Yeah, they did show some of
Coherd.
the latest international. What was it, International 3? They did actually show some of that when it was live, and that was actually really cool. Of course, one guy talked down to it, and that's the guy I think you said they got rid of, right?
Yep.
Colin
Coherd. Coherd. Crap herd. Well, they got rid of him, and now everybody's all hunky-dory with the idea of esports because it's actually really freaking entertaining to watch, even if you don't know what the hell's going on. Flashing lights are attractive to humans. Who'd have thought?
Thunk it.
Yeah, Cowherd's over on FSN1, which is their cable version of Fox Sports.
Lovely.
Yeah. Yep, I see his advertisement there every once in a while. Join the herd.
Well, either way, I think it's just exciting to be in a time when esports is actually being recognized as something that's enjoyable to watch, even if you're not a gamer. That bodes really well for Twitch streamers. Let me just say that right now. Think about how that translates.
Well, that's where they're picking up. They're realizing how big it's exploded. Like Twitch, and I guess game streaming in general. It was on YouTube and whatnot, but live streaming it, that just like was an overnight sensation all of a sudden. So
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say overnight. It took quite a bit of time, but when we got there, it definitely, I'd say, and as much, I begrudgingly say this, I hate to say these words, but we can pretty much thank PewDiePie for this. I know it hurts to say those words, but let's face it, he is pretty much a household name. He is pretty much a household name now.
He's getting his own reality TV show, and he's getting like his own network and stuff now.
Reality TV show on YouTube.
Yep.
Hooray.
And partnering up with a bunch of other YouTubers. So.
Yep.
Not to mention Disney owns Maker, which owns Polaris, which owns like every YouTuber that we love. You name it, they're owned by Polaris, and they actually are making a Polaris. So I'm sure you've heard of Sling. Have you guys heard of Sling before? The TV alternative?
Yeah.
Slingbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Slingbox. It's actually
I signed
an
up for
on-demand
that
service where you can watch live TV, and there's actually a Polaris channel that actually shows like 24/7 content from their Polaris creators, which, I mean, think about that for a second. There is literally in existence a live TV channel that shows YouTuber content.
Yeah, it's actually not the only thing. My TV has that built in too. It's really fucking annoying, actually.
But even still, it's getting very mainstream, and that bodes for interesting times. This is, in my opinion, this is TV's way of catching up with what's been going on the internet for so long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
So,
it's good to have. It's good to have fucking mainstream start to catch up with new age shit, because what we all consider mainstream is actually changing. TV is starting to become a dying breed in a sense, even though that's where all of the money is, and that's supposedly where all the money is. That's where all of the people that used to have all of the money, so all of the influence and everything, are still at right now. And they're finally starting to adopt the idea that, hey, shit is changing, maybe we should change along with it. And it's cool to see people finally start to catch up.
I think this is just visual entertainment catching up with music entertainment. You know, over the past decade, there's been no new music that's been released. It's just people singing other people's songs or different portions of other people's songs.
Oh,
So
that's
it's
been
just
happening
visual.
for a long time, though.
But I mean, definitely in this last decade, there's just really not a whole lot of new music compared to, you know, the occasional thing that happened, you know, when I was growing up. But you know, visual
Shepherd
entertainment,
Farm remembers.
visual entertainment now is just us watching somebody else play something else. So it's basically just taking secondhand content and replaying it again. So
It's like watching a little bit more exciting news, I guess, news channel.
Pretty much.
yeah.
Watch us comment on this video.
Well, I mean, you could ask the question, why is football popular? You're not playing it. You're just watching other people play it. Well, for the same reason that Dota is popular. You're not playing it, but these people are playing at such a high level. It's interesting.
You don't have to feel the rage of losing
Oh, man.
or getting berated by the other players.
Or getting the concussions from the other players.
Yeah, right?
I didn't even know this, but apparently I was listening to the Bombcast, and fucking there is an entire YouTube following this dedication of people like to go watch videos of people that watch other videos and do nothing but sit there and drink a 40 the entire time. And it's like reactions with 40s or some shit like that. Like that is the dedication to these types of channels. And there are a bunch of pretty popular people that are doing this. And then one of their people got caught fucking filling the 40s with water and just drinking water the entire time. And there was just a gigantic rage in this fucking niche group of YouTube fucking reaction type videos. It's just interesting that there's enough people that like that type of content to make it a viable thing to do on YouTube. It's weird. And yeah, they actually talk about it a little bit more in depth on the Giant Bombcast. So I was listening to that and I was like, the fuck, man. The fuck.
You ever watched Drunk History on Comedy Central?
No.
I've heard of it.
You should check it out. At least one episode. I mean, it's hilarious. They have one person that's like keeping them on track. That person's sober. They're like a producer of sorts, and then they'll have like some celebrity, whether it's a comedian or some other straight celebrity, and they just get absolutely trashed, and they're retelling this historical story, you know, like you know, Benjamin Franklin or Paul Revere or something like that, and it's hilarious because when they retell, you know, something that the character said, it will be, you know, their recollection, their drunk recollection of what they said. So they'll be like, so Paul's like, hey man, there's British people coming, and then they'll have actors recreate the scene, but they'll match their voice and their face with the soundtrack of the person retelling the story. So they'll have like a straight, like Benjamin Franklin dressed all up like Benjamin Franklin, and he's like, so there's British people coming. it's done spectacularly. Check it out at least once. One episode is all I
That
ask.
sounds hilarious.
Yeah, that does sound great. And that sounds like something that started as a YouTube series.
It definitely could have.
In
So-
my opinion.
I think that's.
I get all my history from epic rap battles of history. It's served me
Oh my
well so
god,
far.
Epic Rap Battles is so good.
All you need to know for sure is that Teddy Roosevelt was a badass motherfucker. And that's it.
Yeah. So that's it for the news stories this week.
Yep,
We're fresh out of story.
we are. That was everything in the news.
There wasn't much news this week.
No, not really. I mean, like there were a couple other little things, but nothing that was like, let's throw this in there. Well, except for like a bunch of people fucking dying, but you know, this is David Bowie, fucking Snape. Sad
Yeah.
times.
Oh, now I'm
Alan
sad.
Rickman. Yeah. Way to end it on a down note. Jesus.
Yeah.
Fuck,
Why couldn't you
Naki.
have ended it on your dick sucking story or
Right?
dick eating story? Sorry.
Hey,
Right?
hey,
Eat a
now.
big old bag of dicks.
I'm guessing this story
Nobody
was
said it
when
was
I
a
was
bag,
cleaning up
okay?
Vomit.
Yes, that was then. Yes.
What do you got against a bag, Naki?
Yeah,
What?
There's something about Naki.
Fuck
Naki
bags.
And Highsight Dickie.
He'll listen to it in the fucking
I'll-
editing of it.
I'll enjoy this Monday.
Have fun with that.
By the way, I plan on doing this audio edit live on my channel.
Oh,
Probably should.
fuck.
Work on
You want to know
Monday.
what?
So
I just realized Phyrus edits these motherfuckers and he takes the funny parts out of these fucking episodes and he adds them to a list of just funny shit that then gets played at the beginning of these goddamn things. I should not have brought up a dick sucking story.
nope.
Yeah.
That was a
I
bad
love
idea.
that. I know it'll come back.
I love
Yeah.
debating that out. That
Fuck.
was fun.
Fuck.
Hell, I may use this for this may make promo from every week.
There's definitely enough content for at least 3 weeks in there, maybe 4.
Oh,
That's on the
God.
Heroes Hideout.
Just the
2
new
weeks
big,
ago on the Heroes Hideout. 3 weeks ago on the Heroes Hideout.
just
Yeah.
the new beginning from here on out. Oh God, no, no.
Can't wait.
All right, time to call it then.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Nakiato. Dicks, 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 dicks.
Hello, Nakiato here, and I like to eat bags of dicks.
You guys
Dicks
aren't very
or
good at
singular
that.
Cats and dicks
You,
and
you
cats and
guys
dicks
are
and
not
cats.
good
I'm
at
sorry,
that voice.
I don't practice as much as I should.
Nak, I think you're just not good
Hello,
at it, and we're
everybody.
imitating
I mean,
you.
you didn't even do it this week. You just went, "Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm Nakiato."
What?
Hey,
I
what's up?
did not.
Dicks.
Hey,
With all that
everybody.
jazz.
Yeah, with all that jazz.
Hello,
Oh, it's
ladies
more
and
than-
gentlemen. Nakiato here, and
Jazz.
welcome to another episode of the
Hello,
Heroes Hideout
ladies and
Gaming
gentlemen.
Podcast.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. Damn it.
It's almost
Hello,
Jerry
ladies and
Seinfeld.
gentlemen. Nakiato here with a bag of dick or two. Perhaps a
almost
little
Jerry
jazz in
A dick or
there.
two.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to
Hello.
the Bag of Dicks podcast.
Oh, no.
Who are these people?
Oh, what have we become?
Yeah,
Oh,
bags of
man.
dicks.
You guys fucking taking over the show next week is going to be great.
I know that's what I was.
It
That's what I was
will.
excited about. Is I'm like, whoever's hosting better do that.
No,
Hello,
it was-
everybody.
I planned it.
Insert
I
that
was practicing.
You were practicing.
Hello, everybody.
Like, somebody's got to write up like a template for that.
Yeah. Like I gotta hold. So I'm gonna write out my script and I'll
Get
say,
an ad with it.
"Hello, oh, ladies and gentlemen, Nakiato here."
Try and,
Hello.
try and say it with your own
Trail.
voice for a second there. Or try and say it with your own fucking name for a second. See how it sounds.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Highsight here.
Doesn't sound right.
That doesn't sound
Words.
right. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's got to be Nakiato, but that's okay because I'm gonna pose as you, so it's cool.
That's a good point.
He's gonna.
Fuck.
Yep.
He's going to talk about dick sucking the entire time.
That was the game plan, but I
Shit.
mean, you already did enough that I can
Well-
probably just start clipping it and then play it on demand with my new soundboard.
We'll even
Right.
call him Nakiato like throughout the whole show.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
yeah.
God.
So
Okay.
that's something to look forward
Well.
to for next week.
I'm going to end that here. Yes, listen next week for these pricks taking over the show. That's going to be fun. Hooray.
And all that jazz.
And all that
And all that
jazz.
jazz.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, folks. Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. Nakiato signing
I
off.
hate you guys so much.
Wait, you got such a unique sign on and sign off.
Unique, that's the word for it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this week's episode of the Heroes Hideout Gaming Podcast, where we talk about video games and all of that jazz. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, Twitch, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and iTunes. Links all down in the description below, and all of that jazz. Join us next week, or join these fuckers next week, while they try and impersonate my sexy ass voice.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Jazz.com.
Yeah, all right. I'm going to get the fuck out of here. You guys have a fantastic night. Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Oh no, you're getting muted. Fuck you. Fuck
What?
you,
No,
Highsight.
no.
That
Where's
was
the Mickey
Fuck
perfectly
you,
timed. Don't even
Highsight.
give me that
Goodbye.
shit.
Where's the Mickey
That
Mouse?
was
Highsight.
perfectly timed.
And muted. Oh, I love being able to control this shit. So good. And pump music right into your ears.